Hey guys, Deslater Magic here, and it's time to talk about another fun format. If I remember correctly, the last video was about an awesome format called Blitzkrieg, but this one's really fun too. As far as modifying your deck to fit Blitzkrieg, that was a little rough. This one, you just take a deck and play with it. Now, you might want to modify your deck to be more advantageous, but you could just pick up a standard, a modern deck, Commander if you really wanted, and just play this format. This time around, we're talking about Emperor. In this gameplay variant, you have two teams of 3 people versing each other. What you do is you sit 3 people on one side of the table, 3 people on the other, and those are your teams. And then the person in the middle on each side is the Emperor, and on the left and right are like the guards or the bodyguards or the generals or, however you want to phrase it. I'll just assume that we're talking about standard decks for the rest of the video. So every single player has a 60 plus card deck, starts with 20 life. You roll to see who goes first. It's pretty much, normal. So how you win for your team is, of course, eliminate the opposing Emperor. As soon as he loses the game, then you win. This, of course, means that if you're one of the generals on the sides and you lose the game because, you drop below 20, then you can actually still win by your team winning by eliminating the opposing Emperor later. So besides being 3-on-3, the main tweak is who can attack who, and this is where it gets really interesting. The generals on the sides are considered to have an attack range of 1, so anybody within 1 seat of them, left or right, can be attacked. Now, since you wouldn't attack your own emperor, that means that the general on the left is attacking the general directly across from them on the table. If the opposing general is eliminated from play by, dropping below 20 health usually, then the general can directly attack the emperor because now the emperor is 1 seat away. The emperors in the middle have an attack range of 2, which means since they wouldn't attack their own generals, the emperor can attack either the left or the right general, and when either one of them is eliminated, they can then attack the emperor directly. So, in order to get a shot at the emperor, you basically have to eliminate one of the 2 generals. If you eliminate both of the generals, then both of your generals and your emperor, all 3, can attack the emperor. And then if you eliminated just one of their generals, the general on that side and your own emperor can attack the emperor directly, but the other one would be forced to still only attack the opposing general. If you can't really picture that in your head, just remember what I said in the first place. Generals have an attack range of 1, and emperors have an attack range of 2. Now, other players on one team can, collaborate and plan their attacks together and show each other their hands and, share information. But other than that, they're played completely separately. You don't share a life total or anything like that, like Two-Headed Giant. Now, everything else is just like a normal game of Magic, except that all creatures have like an invisible activated ability that says tap, target teammate gains control of this creature. Play this ability only anytime you could play a sorcery. So basically, during your first or second main phase, you can donate a creature to either your emperor or the other general. If a general is about to die, it might be a smart idea for the emperor to deploy some creatures to them. Then, of course, the same person can then use their ability to tap them and give them back later in the game, but obviously it would remain tapped when it changes battlefields. And, of course, you can only do it at sorcery speed. We don't want any ambush blocking, of course. Now, there is one thing that the official comprehensive rules that outline how to play the Emperor variant, which, yeah, it's an actual, Wizards of the Coast format. But, there's one thing it's not clear on, and that's, does everybody take their turn at once, or do they not? It simply says that you randomly determine which Emperor goes first, and then turn order goes to the player's left. While I assume both of the generals and the emperor all take their turn together like Two-Headed Giant. It says that you play as a team, so I assume that that's what they meant. Now, when it comes to working together, the whole range of influence thing, as far as who you can attack, also applies. It's the exact same number. So if you're an emperor, you can, use Titanic Growth or whatever on anybody within 2 seats of you. So you could boost either of the opposing generals' creatures, yeah, right? Or either of your own generals. But the generals only have a influence of 1. So they can only boost the emperor's creatures with spells like that, but not each other because they're sitting too far apart. Now, if you thought Blitzkrieg sounded broken, but this sounds fairly normal, no, this format is completely broken, which is why it's considered pretty casual. So imagine this. Both of your generals are set up with just dirt cheap death touchers and gigantic walls with reach, or just flying creatures or reach, death touch, whatever. So nothing is getting past their line of creatures. Also give them massive, massive life gain so that it just takes forever to knock them out. They're just stall and turtle. And then your Emperor would just have a deck of win and loss cards. Like Felidar Sovereign, get to 40 life, win the game. There's a card that says get to 50 life, win the game. Don't forget Door to Nothingness. You cast it for 5, pay 10 in a color mix, and sacrifice Door to Nothingness. Target player loses the game. Just, I guess you couldn't target the Emperor necessarily, but you could knock out one of their generals and then just play another copy of it. Well, then there's like Demonic Pact, and then you could like donate it and stuff, but you still would have to be able to target the opposing Emperor, so it's not that broken, but win the game conditions. If the Emperor wins the game, the opposing Emperor loses the game. Those are a little bit more common regardless. I mean, get out 10 guild gates and win the game. Simple. By default, at the beginning of the game, the Emperors can't attack each other, and neither can the generals attack the Emperors, so you could just stall, and then win the game. So it's not a very fair format, but if you just keep it to standard instead of just build whatever you want, like freeform is, what you call it? Some people call it casual. But if you kept it to standard, it would be a little bit more fair, but you could still kind of rig it to be like really unfair, but not really, because it's Emperor, and that's what you're supposed to be doing, is high defense on the edges, and then some kind of masterpiece, that's a terrible term, some kind of brilliant scheme from your Emperor to win the game. The Emperor could just sit there with nothing defensive, nothing but ramp, and then just dump out near infinite, if not infinite tokens, and then donate them to the two generals. The generals knock out the other generals with 1,000 tokens apiece, and then you win. But that's just, it's fun. It's like, it's such a wacky format that if you built something like that, it would be kind of weird and kind of interesting. Luckily, in standard right now, Cryptolith Right and Secure the Waste just cycled out. Well, actually, Cryptolith is still legal, but I mean that combo. If you didn't have to worry about getting attacked, you could cast that for such an insane amount of mana, you could get hundreds of tokens. One of my favorite ways to play this is to build an all boost deck, just nothing but boost and ambush and beneficial stuff. The Emperor is practically defenseless, but he's got all kinds of ridiculous boost spells, and he just casts them on the two generals next to him so that they can kill off the other generals faster. Then it's sort of like 1.5 players versus 1 on the outsides, and soon when one of their generals is dead, the general just goes in, donate all the creatures to him, and then just demolish the guy with the steamroller. That's a little bit more fair than just, I turtled and then won the game. So if you want a more fair format, the defenseless wizard as an Emperor is a pretty cool strategy. So what do you think? Have you guys ever played Emperor? Was it pretty fun? I think I played it like once. I might have to resurrect it though, because like I said, you gotta play Magic just for fun once in a while, and if you're playing for fun, you might as well play Emperor. So hopefully you guys can have a chance to test it out sometime, and I'll see you guys next video.